Thank you very much. Distinguished venerables, distinguished colleagues, Kantuk, Swadikap. Let me have a few comments, please, to introduce myself and then introduce the panel. Patrick and Emma and Kun-san, could you please join me at the head table? As some of you may know, that I am probably most known in Thailand for discovering the UNESCO World History Site of Ban Chiang, Northeast, which I did by accident. Because back in 1966, I was in a village in the Northeast and fell down on my face in the dirt and discovered a Bronze Age culture. But I first came to Thailand in 1961 when my father was the American ambassador to the Kingdom of Thailand. And it is most appropriate and most meaningful to me that we are discussing Buddhism and the SCP and the future of the world on the anniversary of the birthday of His late Majesty, King Rama IX. Because my father and His late Majesty were pretty good friends, which is unusual for the ambassador of foreign power and the king of a kingdom. And I was honored really to have a private audience with His Majesty only once in 1984, but I bring it up in the context of this seminar because His Majesty's concern in 1984 was the impact, particularly on the Sangha, of wealth and materialism. His concern was that there could be an imbalance between the good character that you need in monks and in people and the consequences of economic development and wealth which interfere with our passions. And he asked me to go talk to some monks at Wat Bawon about what might be done, because His Majesty was also very concerned that should the Sangha itself not follow the right path of Buddhism, there would be trouble in the land for the people. And His Majesty was always concerned for his Thai people, but also for people in the world. What I then learned, and then more recently, thanks to my friend Kun Alec Mavro, who's also been in Thailand since the 1960s, he stayed in Thailand, I went back to America for a career, came to appreciate Buddhism in a new way recently, thanks to His Majesty's sufficiency economy philosophy, the SEP, the weapons that we are given. Actually, I would not say we are given these weapons by the Buddha. We have these weapons inside ourselves. Can we develop them? Can we bring them out? And this is to have an understanding of Buddhism which is very different than what I learned as a boy. And when I was a teenager in Thailand, our Farang idea of Buddhism was the monks in the monastery who withdrew from the world. And that the purpose of Buddhism, like in the Dhammapada, is to deal with dukkha, with suffering, through escaping samsara, looking to the ideal of nirvana, sometime in the future, worrying about reincarnation, worrying about karma. But there's a different side to Buddhism, which I think is more important today and is the basis for this conference. And it is a side of Buddhism that I have learned deeply from Fra Anil, which is Buddhism in the world. Buddhism as part of our experience. I also, as some of you may know, I've spent a number of years in Vietnam, and with the Venerable here, in Vietnamese we say Bui Dai, the dust of life. We live with the dust of life. We are the dust of life. And there's a thinking that we need to escape from that. We need to somehow cleanse ourselves, purify ourselves, and get out of the dust of life. But ladies and gentlemen, what if our destiny while we are alive is to be in the dust of life, to be in the world of suffering and samsara? What is the Buddhist path? Buddhism, therefore, as I think we're going to be talking about, and some comments on issues of gender in this world, Patrick will remind us of the initial teachings of the Buddha, and I would put this in the context of how we should live in this life, in this world. What this means then, I suggest, as a theme for this conference, and as the introduction by Neil has pointed out, that Buddhism becomes a path for every human being. It is a way each of us, male, female, old, young, we can live in the world. And this means, I think, that those who are expert in the original teachings, particularly of the Buddha, not necessarily how to live as a monk withdrawn from the world, but how we live in the world. They have a message which can go to every country, to every person. The conference is also looking at another topic which is controversial in our world, and that is religion. In the discussions around the SDGs in the United Nations, people are not comfortable. The civil servants, the NGOs, the business people are not comfortable talking about religion. So we are very honored to have Dr. Tomlin from University of Leeds in the UK, who looks at religion and development. And when we think about religion, I think about the role of religion in this world, whatever the religion is, whatever the faith tradition is, to borrow a concept earlier mentioned, to create resources. If we look at religion as creating resources, in the terms of sociologists and economics, this would be creating social capital and human capital. And there are two important texts which I think we should reach out to and study again. One is the famous study by Max Weber of capitalism. How did we have such a rich society? If you look at what has happened to humanity since about 1800, our living standards are incredibly higher. Our material, we have electricity, we have hot, cold running water, we have flush toilets, we have cell phones, right? All due to inventions and products which we have given to humankind. Max Weber thought that the basis for this radical change was spiritual. It wasn't economic, wasn't political. It was, as we say in Thailand, it was a mindset. Secondly, there was in 2015 a report by the World Bank. Oh, thank you. A report by the World Bank on mind and behavior, where the World Bank, which is a financial institution, pointed out that if we want economic growth, it starts with mind.